Welcome to another episode of Girl Take No Podcast, where we interview inspiring women who have turned their passions into profits. I'm your host, Shani Sanders, and today we're diving into what really sets successful women apart. If you ever wondered how some women manage to achieve their goals, balance life, and exude confidence, then this episode is going to be for you because we're going to reveal the secrets behind what successful women do differently. And trust me, these insights are going to help you take your success to the next level. This is Girl Take Note, a podcast for women who are looking to turn their dreams into reality. And as you guys know, I've interviewed multiple successful women on this podcast, and I have been noticing a few similar traits amongst them all. And that's why I really wanted to do this episode, because I feel like we need to understand those traits. And maybe once we talk about this and once I reveal what these traits are to you, that not only will it help you, but also it helps me as I'm on the road to my own entrepreneur dreams and entrepreneur goals. And so I want to tell you why I felt like this topic matters, right? Success doesn't just happen by chance. There are habits, mindsets, and strategies that consistently lead to success. And today we're revealing what some of the most accomplished women do differently. So whether you're looking to advance in your career or to start your own business, or you simply just looking to gain some confidence in your personal life, understanding these practices can be a game changer for any of us. These women have proved that being able to build something from the ground up, take that dream, turn that passion into a profit, really does set them apart from a lot of people. And I think one of the first things I noticed about the women that I interviewed on this podcast, especially women with my Trailblazing Women series, they own their own worth. So let's start with one of the most powerful things that mostly successful women do. Like I said, is they own their own worth. This doesn't mean just knowing what you bring to the table in your career or business, but also in your relationships, in your personal life. Successful women, I believe, are very clear about their value. They don't shy away from asking for what they deserve, whether it's a raise, recognition, or time for self-care. And I think most importantly, they don't apologize for it. I think too many times we sit and apologize for the things we want, or either we are afraid to ask for the things we want. We are afraid to set that price for our service or product because we're afraid what people are going to say. But what I notice about these women is that they came out the gate setting a price at a certain point where they know, one, they're going to make money from it. And two, is because they deserve it. They put a lot of time into their product. They put a lot of time into the service that they're offering. And they feel like, if I'm going to put myself out there, if I'm going to put all this time into other people, if I'm putting all this time into this product that I believe is absolutely amazing in the market, then I'm going to charge what I believe is worth. Because at the end of the day, we're all about turning our passions into profits, right? And so in order to have the profits, we have to understand how to price things, and we can't be afraid to do it. If you are a career girly, you can't be afraid to ask for what you believe you are worth, right? You can't be afraid to ask for that raise, no matter what, because at the end of the day, you don't know how it's going to turn out. You really don't. So take that bold step and ask for it. Successful women are not afraid to ask for what they're worth. They're not afraid to put themselves first and know that their self-care comes first. You have to be able to take that step for yourself. So how can you start owning your worth today? Begin by acknowledging your accomplishments and practicing self-advocacy. When you believe in yourself, other will do it too. And that's a proven fact. But if you don't believe, then we can't expect anyone else to believe. And another thing I noticed that they do is, contrary to what popular belief, self-care isn't selfish. It is a necessity in life. And I noticed that too when I talk to them. All of them talk about the importance of self-care, mental health, and making sure that you are okay, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. Successful women make time for themselves without feeling guilty. And I know a lot of us who are moms, we deal with this. You deal with that mom guilt because you feel guilty if you begin to take time for yourself. You begin to feel guilty because you feel like, oh, I should be spending time with my family or my kids. But sometimes you have to do things just for you. because they know that in order to show up fully in their careers or for their families, they need to recharge. And that's whether taking a break, taking time to plan exercising throughout your day, or just simply having some alone time. They recognize that their well-being is a priority to them. It's not something secondhand. It's a priority. And I think that if we want to be on this road to entrepreneurship and we want to be successful in our business or just be successful in our lives or your career, know that it's okay to take those times to yourself. I think for the career girl, know that it's okay to take vacations. Knowing it's okay to maybe take a mental health break. That's what you have sick time for. Because I was one of those girlies who worked and rarely took vacations, right? I rarely took time off. I rarely called in. But I realize I'm not telling people, I'm not advocating for people to call into work all the time. I'm not doing that. But just recognizing when you do need a break, when you do need to recharge, it's okay to do that. When you take care of yourself, you're able to show up so much more stronger and focused and also more energized for all areas of your life. So don't feel guilty about making time for you. It's important that we do it. A lot of us don't really do self-care. A lot of us believe self-care is just giving ourselves, I don't know, a skincare routine, right? And I'm big on skincare routines, don't get me wrong. But self-care also is taking time for you, doing something you enjoy. I talked about that a lot on my podcast in terms of like the reason why I even started this podcast is because I was looking for something that I enjoy. I was looking for something that brings me joy personally, not joy for my family, not joy for the kids, but me. And I started this podcast because it was something I really was passionate about, am passionate about. And it was something that I felt like, oh man, this will really be a way for me to kind of just talk with my audience, talk with my friends, talk with other women who inspire me and really bring me so much joy and fulfillment in my life. And that's why I started the podcast. And so being able to do something for you, being able to do some type of self-care for you is so important as a woman. It's so important as an entrepreneur to take that time. And some of you might just want to sit down and read a book. Like you might just want to sit and read silently, just somewhere silent and quiet. Maybe you just want to be with your thoughts. Maybe you just want to meditate. Whatever self-care looks like for you, I would advise you to take it because the women I interview and the women that I admire take time for themselves. Because the mindset and strategies is so important about being able to know that you have to recharge and that, like I said before, that you cannot pour from an empty cup. You just can't. And what also they learn is that they embrace failure as a learning opportunity. So I believe it's something that might surprise people, but successful women, they just don't fail like everyone else do, right? The difference is they see it, don't see failure as a roadblock. Instead, they see it as a part, they see that something they can embrace as a part of their journey. Every setback is a chance for them to learn, grow, and refine their strategy. They just don't take failure personally. And I think that was super cool when I talked to a lot of them is that they expect failure to be a part of the journey. Sometimes they expect things not to always work out because that's life, right? I'm not saying I'm manifesting things not working out because I don't believe in that. I believe we should manifest things to work out for us. But life happens, right? Life happens. Things don't always go the way we want them to. But to not take it personally, I think that is such a strong place to be in your life because we can look at failure and things that don't work out for us in our life, in our business, whatever it may be, in our personal relationships, and we can look at that as failure. Some people, when they get divorced, they look at that as a failure for them, that they wasn't able to make something work. They wasn't able to make something stick. Or either if a business don't go the way they want it to go, or if a business, they have to, I don't know, redefine the business, or maybe not even do that business and pivot into something else, they look at that as a failure. But successful women, they don't take failure personally. They take it as feedback. And I think that is so important for us to know that we need to learn to take failure as feedback, not as something that is definite, like, oh my God, this didn't work and now I shouldn't do anything. Don't look at it as failure. You look at it as a learning experience. You look at it as an opportunity. to pivot into something else, to do something differently. And I think what's so good about failure, and yeah, I did say that, what's so good about failure is that going forward, you know what doesn't work. And that is key. That means you got one up in the game, that you know that I tried this and that doesn't work for me. So I don't have to repeat that because I've learned from that. And I think that's what's good about failure. It's okay to have some failure. It's okay to have some setbacks because you now know how to move forward and how things are going to go for you this time around. So let's not look at failure as something that happened to us and it just kind of like it's final for us. You know, we don't have to look at it as a negative thing. We look at it as a learning experience. It's the same thing we told kids when our kids don't succeed at something, when our kids try something, right? Especially when they're young and they're trying to do certain things and they're trying to make things work. And we don't tell them, we don't look at them and say, oh, you're never going to get it. We kind of give them an encouragement. We encourage that it's okay. You'll learn how to do it. It's okay. It's one step at a time, right? So let's go back to that way of thinking, even in our own lives for ourselves, where we're not just beating ourselves up because something didn't work out. And I'm learning this myself. Like I said, I learn a lot from the women that I interview on this podcast because I'm still growing in this space of entrepreneurship and I'm still learning. And I get so excited to talk to women who have been through the struggle, who can kind of give me some feedback and give me some insight on, one, I'm not going crazy. Exactly what I'm experiencing is okay. It's a part of the journey. You just have to keep pushing forward. Right? You just have to price your products at the right price point so you can make the kind of money you need to sustain your business, because that's important. And don't look at failure as something that just happened to you. It's not something that just happens to you. It happens to everyone. But it's about the people who can get up, who can learn from it and just move forward with it. And I think that's so important to know as an entrepreneur, not just a woman entrepreneur. I think it's important to know as an entrepreneur, period. The habits of successful people looks different. And that's why I'm super excited about this episode we're doing right now. Because the next time you face a setback, ask yourself this: what can I learn from this experience? How can I use this to become better? I think those two questions are key to understanding that this is not something I failed at. This was a learning experience. So what did I learn from this and what can I do better the next time? And I know exactly what I'm not going to do. And that's a good starting point to be at, because you know what you're not going to do because you know what works and what does not work. Now, behind every successful woman, there is a powerful network. I wasn't going to say a man. I know some of you probably thought that, right? But no, there's a powerful network. And the majority of women that I speak to on this podcast talk about their network, talk about their team. Successful women don't do it alone. They build strong relationships with mentors, peers, and like-minded other individuals who support and inspire them. And this is so big because I talk about the solopreneur all the time, right? I'm a solopreneur myself. And we can get into a space where we feel so protected of our baby. It's like having the baby. It's like having children. You get so protected of your baby that you don't want to share it with anyone. You don't want to bring on a VA person or another person that has to take away some of the things that you've been so used to doing. And it becomes like, oh, I don't know if I want to give this away. But in order to pivot, in order to grow, in order to scale, not pivot, but in order to scale, every woman that I talk to, I mean, almost everybody, every entrepreneur that I talk to on this podcast has talked about having a team and having a network to support you on that scale, to have a team to help you scale. You don't scale alone, you scale with a team. So you need people that are around you that can inspire you, that can motivate you, whoever that may be, peers. These networks, I feel, provide encouragement and accountability, and sometimes new opportunities that you would have never been available otherwise. So it's a good thing to join certain groups, to network with those in your circle, to network with those in your field, because it does help you and you learn a lot. And like I said before, when you have mentors, you have peers and people that you can kind of talk to about what you're going through, people who are actually doing what you're doing, who are actually entrepreneurs and on this road. Because sometimes we tend to go to our friends who don't understand your journey simply because they're just not doing it. right? And so sometimes they might not understand and might not be able to give you the right advice. But when you talk to someone who has been through it, someone who understands it, someone who's fighting through, who fought through the same things that you're pushing through and you're fighting through, it becomes so much more, oh God, just so much more of a greater feeling because you're able to talk to people who understand you, where you're not feeling like, okay, I'm not alone in this. Actually, there have been tons of people who've been through this. There are people who are going through this right now, and we can support them. That's why Facebook groups work so well. Facebook group, LinkedIn groups, all those different groups and stuff like that that you can do online or anything you could do in person too. They work so well simply because we know that we need other people to support us. We thrive off that. That's why I have my friend group. I thrive off that. But also the podcast afford me an opportunity to talk to entrepreneurs who have been where I'm starting at and who have been successful at it. And I'm able to talk to them and kind of understand. When I interview them, I learn so much from each person I interview on this show. I learn so much. I take nothing for granted. It has been a privilege and an honor to interview some of the people that I have had on this show because I've learned so much and I feel so inspired. When I interview Arlen Hamilton and I listen to her story about going from homelessness to becoming a venture capitalist and just her struggle that she went through, but the fact that she never gave up on herself, the fact that she had that insane confidence, right? Just being able to believe in herself when no one else believed in her, when no one else could see it, when she's sleeping on the floor in the airport, when she's sleeping on couches in other friends' home, when her and her mom are sleeping in hotels. She never gave up on the fact that I'm going to raise $1 million to help other aspiring, underprivileged, underrepresented founders in this industry. She never gave up on it. And there's something there that really does inspire you to say, wow, if someone who has so many odds against them, right? And she still pushed through and she still made it. What does that say about you? What does that say about me? I didn't have that many odds against me. So that means that it inspires me to say, you know what? You got to keep pushing forward. You got to keep believing in yourself. You have to believe in yourself and you have to have a positive mindset. I don't know. I told you guys before, I'm doing 75 hard and it's been a challenge, of course, but also the fact that I've been reading the book, The Power of Positive Thinking, and I just finished this audiobook, right? I got to tell you guys, honestly, it's been such a long time since I actually finished a book. I was so surprised on my morning walk on Saturday and they said the end. And I was like, oh my God, I actually finished this book. And the things that I've learned from that book in terms of like being able to think positively about yourself, about your life, about your day to day, it takes such intentionality and it takes such belief. And a lot of it's very spiritual, right? So choose whatever your spirituality is and what you believe in. But a lot of it's very spiritual and a lot is about manifestation and about being intentional about your belief and being intentional about setting your days up. And when I listen to Arlen's story, I understand how intentional she was about her belief. And she took steps. She took real steps. And so I think the best way when it comes to not being so solo in your journey is to start by reaching out to people who inspire you, whether that's through social media, events, or even within your current circle. Building a network is just about what you can gain. It's not just about what you can gain. It's also about what you can give. And you have a lot to give someone. You have a lot to give. You have a lot to offer, but you gain so much from it. And I think being able to build yourself a network of people who truly understand you, and you want those people who are going to be very supportive of you. You do not want those people who's going to doubt you, who's going to doubt every decision you make. You want people who tell you maybe think about your decisions, right? But you don't want those people to come around you and tell you that, oh, girl, I don't think you're making the right decision. You probably need to go ahead and get that job. So you don't want those kind of people. That's not what you want. You want people who are very supportive of your journey because everybody's journey looks different. And I can honestly say that I do have people around me and I do have guests that I can call on, that I've built relationships with, that I can call on to ask them any kind of questions and ask their advice and seek their guidance on things, which is so absolutely amazing about having this show. It really is. So make sure you surround yourself with the right people because setting yourself up for success, it's all about who you are around. Because If you're around people who don't believe in you, subconsciously what they say seeps into your subconscious. It really do. So it's important to surround yourself with people who are going to be positive and very supportive. Now, the next key to success is taking risk. And this is like truly one of the most consistent things amongst anyone I have interviewed on this podcast is that taking risks, successful women don't wait for the perfect moment or let fear hold them back. And I'm going to say that again because too many of us do this. They don't wait for the perfect moment or let fear hold them back. Nothing is ever going to be perfect for you to start your business. Nothing is ever going to be perfect for you to ask for that raise. It's never going to be the perfect time. If you're waiting for the perfect time, that's because you are fearful to take the step. Take the step. If you want to start a business, if you want to start a podcast, I know a lot of people want to start a podcast, but are so afraid to take the step. Take the step. They take calculated risk, knowing that growth comes from stepping outside of their comfort zone. It takes you to step outside of your comfort zone to grow. And that's whether you're launching a new project, speaking up in a meeting, or making a big career move. They take action even when they are scared. God, it is so important. Do it scared. I saw this thing the other day where they talked about doing it scared. Nobody is that confident. People are afraid to take those steps. And I intentionally ask these questions to a lot of my guests when they come on the show about, were you afraid to take that step? Were you scared when you decided to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this thing full time. I am not going to go back. I'm going to do this thing full time. And they were afraid to take that step. So people still take steps even when they're scared. People take steps even in the most challenging moments in their life. And you have to do the same. I'm facing my own challenges right now, but I'm going to tell you guys right now, I get up every week. I plan out this podcast. I plan out this content for my social pages. I plan out stuff for my YouTube pages. I still do it even when I'm facing hard times. So you got to do it scared. You have to put yourself out there anyway. I wasn't trying to wait for the right moment to start this podcast. I was looking for something that's going to bring me joy. I said, this is it. I took the step. Stop letting fear hold you back from doing exactly what you always dreamed about doing. It's time you live truly in your purpose. If you're afraid to take the step, then that's the purpose God has for you. You got to push past it. You got to push past it. Think about one area in your life where you've been holding back. And what's one bold step you can take today towards it? What is that step? And you know what it is. You know what it is. You know what you've been holding, but you know what's been holding you back. You know why you've been afraid, right? So take the step. Take the step. It's so important to do that. It's important to take steps even when you're scared. That's when your most successful moments will happen. Your most successful moments come out of moments of scared. When you are scared, when you are out of your comfort zone, you have to move past it. You have to push past it. And then you have to be able to have this mindset, right? Being able to cultivate a growth mindset. Successful women have a growth mindset. They believe that their abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. The mindset, which we talk about a lot on this show. My last episode, where Casey Diamato talked about mindset, the mindset that you got to have. The mindset allows them to face challenges with resilience and keep them motivated to continue learning and improving. Mindset, and I want to take a minute and kind of do a more on mindset. Our mind is our most powerful tool. And we all have heard this growing up, right? Your mind is a terrible thing to waste. And it is so true. And I don't think I ever believed it as much as I did when I was younger than I do right now, because I've been doing mindset work. Your mind controls absolutely everything in your life. How you think about yourself, how you think through your day, how you feel about yourself. Our mind tells us exactly sometimes what we want to hear it could be our most powerful asset, and that sometimes it could be our worst enemy. Because your mind can play tricks on you. Your subconscious can really push you in a place where you don't want to be. I can be so transparent with you guys right now where I can pray and I'm like, okay, God, it's going to be such a great day today. I'm going to make it through. And then subconsciously I hear in my mind, it's not going to be a good day. You got bills to pay. What are you talking about? What are you going to do right now? You got bills, you got responsibilities, the money's not coming in like you need to. You really need to think about going to get a job. This is what goes on in my mind. And I'm being very transparent right now. And so that's why it's been such a blessing for me to read The Power of Positive Thinking, because this book has allowed me to transform my way of thinking, to be able to fight against those negative thoughts and really let my subconscious know, like, listen, we got to get it aligned because I'm trying to grow here. I'm trying to grow this podcast. I want to be one of those podcasts that get those multi-dollar deals from Spotify, Sirius, or Amazon. So we need to get aligned. So being able to train your mind to think in a more positive way, it is daily work. It's not just daily work. It's every minute, every hour, every second, because that's how much our mind races throughout the day. That's how our mind works. And a lot of times, and I don't know if you guys are like me, but I do this to myself. A lot of times I worry about things that haven't even happened. I'm worrying about something that I believe is gonna happen, but has not happened. But because I put so much energy into that, this is what's gonna happen, it is exactly what manifests itself. And that's how powerful our mind is. And if we don't understand that we have the power to really cultivate our lives, if we adopt to the right mindset. So to cultivate that growth mindset, we have to focus on progress and not perfection. And I think that's important too. We try to be so perfect. We want things to be perfect. Things don't have to be perfect. We don't need them to be perfect, right? We just need to be progressive. We need to progress on things. We need for things to move. And that's what a growth mindset is. You celebrate the small things, right? You celebrate your small wins. You remind yourself that setbacks are a part of the process. When you tell yourself that setbacks are a part of the process, then you don't look at them as such a negative thing. You don't walk around expecting them to happen, right? But you understand that if it does, it's just a part of the process. But to cultivate that mindset that you need to be successful, like these women that we interview on this podcast, like these women that I admire, right, who have great success in their lives, it is because they understand the power of their mindset. They understand what the mindset can do. It can either make your life successful or it can tear you down. And you control it. You control what the outcome of your life is. You have the power to do this. It's about what you truly believe. Listen, I'm a spiritual person. I believe in God, and I'm like, that might not be the thing that everyone do, but I believe it says you are blessed according to your own belief. To your own belief. And so whatever you believe is what's going to happen in your life. And I just been believing for some really absolutely amazing things. And reading that book, The Power of Positive Mindset by Norman Vincent Peale, has really helped me look at my life differently. It has helped me transform my day, where now I'm doing a lot more visualization. Like before I even open my eyes in the morning, I'm visualizing what I see my day looking like in a more positive place. And don't get me wrong, the subconscious still creeps up and try to tell you those negative things. But now I have the tools that I need in order to fight against that and really transform my day. And I'm continuously learning this. I'm getting ready to read another book on mindset as well. And I'm going to continue to cultivate my mindset. I'm going to continue to put daily practices of being able to be in a place of just positive thinking, knowing that everything God has for me is going to work out for me, knowing that today was an awesome day. And it was a great day today. I woke up this morning. I said, today's going to be a great day. And it was. It was a great day. I didn't do much at all today, but it was still a really good day. And so I'm just in a place in my life where I'm paying attention to the habits of successful people and what they do differently. And I'm listening so intensely to the journey of those successful people that I interview on this show, because it is so important to understand that you are not alone in what you do. But if you're able to work on yourself, cultivate the growth mindset that you need, you can truly be successful. So successful. But it's according to your own belief. It really is. So as we wrap up, I want you to remember that the qualities that set successful women apart aren't exclusive to a select few. They're habits, mindset, and choices that anyone can adopt. It's about showing up, owning your worth, being willing to embrace both the highs and the lows. You have what it takes to create your own path to success. You have everything you need to be successful. If you're able to understand those strategies, if you're able to cultivate that growth mindset, you might see wonders that happen for you. So I'm excited to be on this journey, to be doing 75 hard, to work on my mindset. I set financial goals for myself with my business as well. And I'm excited about this journey, holding myself accountable for the things I'm supposed to do, get myself back on track. I have some good days, not some great days when it comes to just my eating habits, but I'm staying on track and I'm staying committed to this process because I see a life for myself that I know I can achieve. And I know you do too. I know I'm not the only one. I know you share the same thing. This is why you listen to the podcast. You want to get inspired by other women's stories because you see yourselves in other women. And so that's why I do this. I do this to serve others because I get so fulfilled from this. And I just want to be able to have others feel the same way when they listen to these episodes. So as usual, I want to thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. I was so excited to do this because I believe the habits of successful women is so important to kind of like digest and kind of like dissect and give out in little bite size for people to understand that you have it too. Like I said, it's not just for a select few. You have what it takes too. You just have to adopt the strategies and the mindset and know your worth and lead with that. Work on your mindset. Start reading books that feed you spiritually, mentally. Be intentional about the conversations you have with people. Try to find yourself a supportive network that can really support you, where nobody's going to tell you, girl, you sound crazy. You want to do that? You sound crazy. Get around people who say, you know what? You ain't dreaming big enough. You could be better. You could do bigger than that. Those are the kind of people you want to be around. So listen, I am Shawnee Sanders. This is the Girl Techno Podcast. And if you like this episode, please make sure you leave us a review because your reviews really do help us grow this show. And also make sure you follow us on all social channels, on all the social pages. It's Girl Techno Pod. And I'm always excited to sit down and have these solo conversations because it's my opportunity to talk to you one-on-one and for us to have our own conversation. So until next time, I'll see you guys in the next episode.